Welcome to APCUG's Wednesday workshop, where we get together in the middle of the week and learn more about technology. Reminder to those that came in late to make sure that your name on our checkerboard squares here is the same as the name that you registered with. Otherwise, you won't be getting any follow-up material. Our next program, as you can see from my background, is an Apple program. As a technology group, we cover all operating systems, and today we're going to be doing some Apple work. The two presenters have been with us before as an Apple experts and sharing their knowledge. Craig Wright, who's a good friend from the city to my west, is going to share with us. He grew up in Northeast Ohio and has resided in Columbus, Ohio since graduating from high school. He's the Director of Electronics Communications for the Columbus Computer Society, attended the Ohio State University, graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, majoring in Computer Information Science. Craig was an applications developer for almost 42 years, mostly writing assembly, C, and Java software. He also was an adjunct instructor at Columbus State Community College for 12 years, teaching Java and HTML. Craig retired in May 2019 and spends too much time playing with his Apple products and his Raspberry Pi single board computers. His partner in crime on this Apple information is Deborah Neff, who grew up in East Central Ohio, not too far from me on the other direction. She started her career in sales after graduating from the oldest university in the Northwest. We both graduated from Ohio University, so she's like another bobcat there. Her last employer was bringing computers to the sales field force. Her computer was a Kai Pro 2000 laptop and a portable dot matrix printer. Deborah was then hooked on computers. She left her sales career and returned to college for a computer science degree. Deborah's first personal desktop computer was a Gateway. Mine too. Her first job was working on a help desk, and she was promoted to network administrator. In 2010, she switched out her equipment for an iPhone, iPad, MacBook Pro. She later added a Mac Air for travel, a HomePod, 3 HomePod minis, an Apple Watch, and AirTags. Deborah now resides in Prescott, Arizona since 2018 and is a member of the Prescott Macintosh user group, where she serves as member at large and public relations chair. And so Craig and Deborah together are going to be talking about some more Apple products today. So Craig, I'll turn things over to you.
Thank you, sir. Let me share my screen. You should see.
I see it.
My beginning of my keynote presentation, or our keynote presentation, presented by myself and Deborah, and we spent, I don't know, 2 or 3 months working on this tops. And this is a picture of the Ohio State House in downtown Columbus. It's kind of a cool building if you're ever there to walk through it. And we're going to start with some presentations from Deborah. And this is a picture from Ohio University, which, as John said, is the oldest institution of higher education in the state of Ohio. I think it was founded about the same time Ohio was founded, back in 1803 or so. So Deborah, it's your turn.
So what is a HomePod? The HomePod, it's a smart speaker introduced by Apple in 2017, released in early 2018 to complement Apple Music, iTunes, etc. a little pricey when it was introduced at $349, and it was about 5.5 pounds, just under 7 inches tall and about 5.5 inches wide. And it came in 2 colors, space gray and white. The price was reduced, but Apple discontinued this HomePod in 2021. And then it was later introduced at $299, second generation. So the primary competitors was Google Home and Amazon Echo, but the sound that comes out of these by pretty much every review that I researched showed that they were significantly superior. And they did something nobody else managed to do. They combined a smart speaker with incredible sound. So the second generation HomePods were less, and they're a tweaked external design, improved audio functionality, and new smart home powers. The smart home concept is now moving slowly into a new era, and it's something called Matter. So Apple had to rewrite some of their software because all the big players have now agreed to kind of come together, and so that more features can be added. The older devices are going to have a problem with that. So that's why Apple's reintroducing some of their new things. And they had to rewrite their HomeKit, which is their smart platform, completely from scratch. So when they phased out the old HomePod, they brought in these HomePod minis, which still pack an awful lot of sound in a tiny little space. They come in multiple colors, and they're priced at $99. You can occasionally find them on sale at office supply stores and places like Costco and stuff like that for $89. The Mini does not support the Dolby Atmos 5.1 or 7.1 surround sound. Next slide.
Whoops, hold on. User error.
Okay, go ahead and, yeah, this was just a little video that Apple put out.
If there's sound, we don't hear it.
Hold on just a second. I need to click that button. You should see it again. Let me back up. You hear it now?
Yes. So I'm just going to walk through some simple steps on setting up a HomePod Mini. It's really, really easy. You plug it in and you watch the lights on top, and they'll pulse white. And then you just hold your either an iPad or a phone within a few inches of it, and the setup screen comes in and pairs it. You cannot use a Mac for this. Like I said, you have to have the 2 portable devices, and your iPhone and iPad should have the latest software. Once it's paired, it'll do the same things that the phone and iPad will do with Siri. You can play music, podcasts, and they have a really cool feature called ambient sounds. You can tell it to do play ocean sounds and things like that. You can ask for a weather report, news, what's on my calendar today. You can set a timer. And if you have more than one, you can use it as an intercom. So, you know, like if you're going to say some music, you can say, hey, magic command. I don't want everybody's phone to go off. Hey, magic person, play some 70s rock or something like that. I've used the intercom feature for different parts of the house. It saves steps. I've used the timer feature, and you know, what's on my calendar. It's really pretty cool. So how do you control the HomePod? Well, if you walk up to it, it has pluses and minuses on top. And so the plus is increasing the sound and the minus decreases. You can also ask Siri and tell her to set the volume at 50%. You can tell her, hey, pause the music, change the tune, whatever. You can use your home app if you've, you know, put the, you've added the Mini to your home application. And also you can swipe down from the top of your phone and iPad for Control Center and control your device that way. You can set up voice recognition and for multiple voices. So everybody in the home can use the HomePod, and then they would enjoy their selection of music that was personalized to them, accessing their own playlists, send and receive messages, make phone calls, and more. I mean, you can answer a phone call on the Mini also. Say you're busy with your hands are busy in something, so you can't answer your phone, but you can answer it on the HomePod. And so you just have to make sure that the username is selected, that, you know, the Hey Siri command is turned on your phone. It could be the side button. Oh, shoot, my other device is responding to the magic command. Let me silence my tablet. You can press the top button on an iPad and the home button on your phones, and to allow Siri when locked. That way it'll work in all these circumstances. And like I said, the Siri command needs to be enabled on each device for each person. You can also set up personal requests through the settings, and you go to your name and Find My, and just make sure that location is set to the device, usually your phone. And then you go into the home app and tap the home button and home settings, your name, personal requests, and turn those on for your HomePod also.
Is this me?
This is you.
Okay.
Because I don't have mine set up that way, but you do.
Okay. So if you have a HomePod or a HomePod Mini or a pair of them, you can use those to provide audio for your Apple TV. So, and this works with, some of the features work with the very early Apple TVs, and some of them require Apple TV 4K. So you can have both speakers of a HomePod or HomePod Mini stereo pair. They must be set. They must be the same type of speaker. So you can't pair a HomePod and a HomePod Mini together. I have a TV in this room on the wall, and on either side of it, I have a HomePod Mini. They're both the blackish. They're called Midnight, I think, because they look the best. The orange ones just aren't me. So make sure both your HomePods are running iOS 11.4 or later. Preferably they should be running the same version, preferably the most recent version. which is what? 14 point something? I can't remember. So you open the home app on your phone or your iPad. You touch and hold one of your HomePods in the list on your phone. Scroll down and tap on the settings cog or button or whatever you want to call it. Tap the create stereo pair. Follow the on-screen instructions. It'll ask you things like, do you want this one to be the left one or the right one? And is this the other one? And that sort of thing. And within a couple of minutes, that new paired HomePods or HomePods Mini will show up in Apple Music as a single pair. If you have a Apple TV 4K, you can assign 4K. I did say 4K. If I didn't, I meant to. You assign them to the same room as your iPad, or I mean your Apple TV. If appropriate, you want to stereo pair them first. And on your Apple TV, you turn it on. You go to the HomePod. You go to the speaker settings and just say, use this HomePod or HomePod pair. And once that's done, of course, if you don't see it, there's a link at the bottom of this screen that tells you what you need to do to proceed. And here's a little video.
As TVs keep getting bigger and thinner, the speakers seem to get smaller and the sound gets worse. But we can improve that with an Apple TV 4K and a single HomePod, a pair of these HomePods, or a pair of these HomePod Minis. We're going to take a look at that. We're also going to take a look at how you can play sound from other devices through your Apple TV and out your HomePods. Let's take a look. Now, if you want to check out the latest Apple TV or the HomePod Minis, I'll put links in the description, along with links to my 10 everyday uses video. Last year, Apple introduced theater mode, and that theater mode brought Dolby Atmos support to the HomePods. It allowed you to pair one of them or two of them to your Apple TV in theater mode. And then a couple months later, Apple retired the HomePods, and now you can do the same things with the HomePod Minis, except there's no Dolby Atmos support. But they do sound nice as a pair of these. Definitely better than the TV speakers in a lot of cases. Once the Apple TV and the HomePods are paired, any content you play on the Apple TV, the sound will come out of the HomePods instead of the TV speakers. Now, if you get one of the newer Apple TVs, you can have other sound come out of your HomePods, which we'll talk about in a minute. So to set up theater mode, you're going to need a Apple TV 4K first generation or the current second generation. You also need one of the discontinued HomePods or a pair of these if you manage to get your hands on them. I'm actually using a pair of these with the Apple TV 4K in the garage. Sounds great. I could play my Xbox through it. Love it. Now, to get this set up in the Home app, you want to make sure these devices are all in the same room. What you'll find is if you have a HomePod that was set up in the room first and you add another HomePod in there, it'll ask if you want to make those a stereo pair. If you add these into a room with an Apple TV, it'll ask if you want to pair those together. So it'll prompt you along the way, but if it doesn't, you could go in and create them using these steps. Now, there's a few ways to set this up. What I'm going to do is create a stereo pair in the app with these two, and then I'll go over to the Apple TV into the settings and choose this pair of speakers as the default for this Apple TV. So let's start with the HomePod Minis. To set up a stereo pair within the app, you would go to the room that you have the HomePods in. So let's grab this yellow HomePod. I can go under the settings, and there it'll say create stereo pair, and it's going to give you the different available echoes around here that it could be paired with. I'm going to pair it with the blue Mini. And now it's going to ask left or right. Let's say I want to swap those. So the right's going to be yellow. That's it. And then back out of it. HomePod's being configured. Additional settings will be available shortly. So once those are joined together, I do have the option. Now it's showing me they're configuring within the app, but I can go into the Apple TV in here under settings and choose my default speakers. So I can choose the Office pair that is now there, or I can choose the individual, just the solo Office HomePod. So there's that option. So for right now, just select it here. But if you want to get in and you want to do some of the other options, like take advantage of that audio return channel, what you'll need to do is do it through the TV instead. Now let me show you how to do this through the TV. Now that you have a stereo pair of HomePod Mini set up, to connect that stereo pair, you would go into Settings, go under Video and Audio, go down to Audio Output. From here, you would pick the Office stereo pair. And now you'll see the audio return channel. It says beta because this is a new feature that may have bugs every once in a while. So you click on that, it'll go black. You wait for it to come back on. And now it's saying that you'd want your TV set to pass-through mode for best performance. Now here's a little sound comparison. First we have no HomePods.
Alright, we all have our assignments. 2 stones uptown, 1 stone down.
Next we have with HomePods. It's a nice step up.
We all have our assignments. 2 stones uptown, 1 stone down.
Now, big update that came out with these new Apple TV 4Ks is the audio return channel. And what that does is it allows you to take audio from other devices plugged into your TV, receive that audio on the Apple TV, and then send it out through your HomePods. Now, to use this, what you need is, one, you need the Apple TV 4K second generation that supports an audio return channel. Two, you need to have an audio return channel on your TV. And typically you'll see on the back of the TV that one of the ports is labeled ARC. That's where the Apple TV will go. Then the rest of your devices will plug into one of the other HDMIs. Sound from them will come down that ARC channel to the Apple TV and out your devices. Here's an example using my Xbox with it. Now this is using just the TV speaker and it doesn't sound as full. Here's how the Xbox sounds hooked up to the Apple TV and the HomePod Minis. Definitely a fuller sound to it. I like having the audio return channel. That was a concern of mine when setting up my system in the garage. I wanted to use an Apple TV with some HomePods, but how was I going to listen to audio from games and stuff? So I thought I was going to have to use the speakers out of the television. Instead, I'm able to take advantage of Dolby Atmos with the full-size HomePods and the Apple TV. It really has sounded nice and works great. Now that we have our HomePod Minis paired with the Apple TV, we can use our voice for control. Hey Siri, pause. To resume, you would say, hey Siri, play. Hey Siri, mute. You have volume controls and other functions. Hey Siri, go back 20 seconds. I do think it's great that you can pair these to an Apple TV and really step up your audio game with speakers you might already be using. Like in this room, this full-size HomePod's paired up with my TV and the Apple TV in here, and I get Dolby Atmos sound in a small room without needing a huge soundbar or some separate speaker. Or a couple of these next to a smaller TV can make a big difference over the speakers inside. So really nice option. Now, what are your thoughts on pairing HomePods with an Apple TV? Are you doing it? Let us know in the comment section. Next, make sure to check out this video over here for 10 uses for your HomePod Mini. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.
So what's next with HomePod? Possibly new speakers that might have screens and cameras, integration with FaceTime and HomeKit, possible Apple TV combined with a HomePod speaker, like a set-top box. We'll just have to wait and see what Apple releases. And a lot of that is going to also depend on what the competition is doing also, Amazon and the Google products. So HomePod privacy and security. You can turn off the Hey Magic command on HomePod. You can turn off location awareness and then remove HomePod before selling or giving it away. But security and privacy are fundamental to the design of HomePods. So nothing you say is sent to Apple servers until HomePod recognizes the command or until you touch and hold the top of HomePod before a request. The light on top of the HomePod indicates it recognized your command, and then all the communication between HomePod and Apple servers is encrypted, and anonymous IDs protect your identity. Siri uses HomePod location to provide local information such as traffic, weather, and nearby businesses. To turn that off, you would go into the settings and turn off the location services. Like I said, and if you plan to give it away, you want to reset it to factory defaults.
Okay, we'll continue now with some of the other speaker products from Apple. So this is a picture of the campus of the Ohio State University here in Columbus. Looking west, that's the center top of the picture is the library at Ohio State. So AirPods, there was first generation, and then eventually they came out with the second generation. Each one is 0.14 ounces, and you can see they're a little over 1.5 inches high and 3/4 of an inch side to side. The case, it's real heavy at 1.3 ounces, and they're available in any color you want as long as it's white. And they're available for $129, 5 hours of listening time. And the case actually can recharge the individual iPods to give you a total of 3 hours of listening on a single charge. And you can also, they integrate with your phone, so you can answer phone calls on them and that sort of thing. So they're kind of cool devices. The AirPod third generation, which is, as far as I know, still the current version, also available in white. They're $170 now. It's an extra $10 if you want a case that can do MagSafe connections for charging, up to 6 hours of listening with an additional 4 hours or 4 hours of talking if you're on a phone or whatever. And these are slightly heavier at 0.15 ounces instead of 0.14. The AirPods Pro, which I have a pair of these myself, they're basically 0.2 ounces each. They're $250, 6 hours of listening and 4.5 hours of talking when you're using it with an iPhone. They also have something new, which I don't have a copy of those. I've seen them in the stores. The AirPods Max, they're more like a on-ear, more traditional headphone, available in silver, green, sky blue, and space gray. They're $550, so they're kind of pricey. 20 hours of listening and 20 hours talking. And those people I know that have them, they love them, but they are a bit more on the pricey side. Connecting Bluetooth speakers to your Mac, and that includes using any of these AirPod devices or HomePods or HomePod minis. You on your Mac, you open up system settings or system preferences on older Macs. You click the Bluetooth in the sidebar on the left side of the screen, hold the mouse or move the mouse pointer over the device in the list of Bluetooth devices and click connect. If asked, click accept or enter a series of numbers and it will tell you what you got to do, then press enter. On your iPhone or iPad, you go settings, Bluetooth, turn on Bluetooth if it's not already on. Make sure your audio device is discoverable. Wait for it to appear on your phone in the list. To pair that with your phone, just click on the audio device and it appears. It will pair up with your phone or iPad. AirPods, you open the case with your AirPods inside. So just have your AirPods inside like you're charging them. Put the case next to your Mac or your phone or whatever. Open the case. And there's a setup button on the back of the case for your AirPods. Hold it for about 5 seconds and the status light will on the iPod or on the case will turn flash white. On your Mac, go to Apple menu, click on System Settings, click Bluetooth, hold the mouse pointer over the AirPods in the list, then click Connect. If you have an iPhone or iPad, it's pretty much the same thing. You follow the online and on-screen instructions and then tap Done when you've done all that. If you have an Apple Watch, you can connect your AirPods or even the AirPod Max AirPod Max. Go to your Apple Watch, open the Settings app, click Bluetooth, tap AirPods on your Bluetooth screen to connect them. You can also use AirPods on your Apple TV if you're like want to watch TV and you don't want to make a lot of noise for other people because maybe they're doing something less useful like sleeping. So you click the little computer screen on your Siri remote, select settings, scroll down, select the list of remotes and devices and Bluetooth, open your case, press and hold that setup button on the back of the case, and that status will flash white, and then select your AirPods and connect. Here's a little AirPods Pro commercial.
Serpiente cobra bailando pa' ti.
And here's a few links that you might find useful for dealing with questions about your smart speakers or AirPods from Apple. And now we have questions. Where did that? Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you, John, for stopping my share.
I didn't do it, but I could have. Yeah, Judy did it for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judy.
Hey, Deborah and Craig, another totally understandable and clear presentation. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
If you have more than one HomePod Mini, can you play the same music on multiple HomePods at the same time?
That has not been my experience because I have 3 minis all over the place. Back of the house, front of the house, garage. The only thing that it seems to understand is the intercom feature. If I use the intercom and I'll say, I'm just going to say Sam, hey Sam, intercom. And if I just say intercom, I have a big speaker and 3 small. So all 4 speakers will make my announcement. So I would say intercom, dinner's ready. And then the person in whatever room can respond with, hey, Sam, I'm on my way. Because the garage is separate from the house and it's across the driveway. So one in the garage is especially helpful. And, you know, it can be playing different music than the other speakers, but I have not found them to all play the same thing. I could have all 4 of them playing at once, but they would be playing different music.
Thanks. I don't subscribe to Apple Music, but I have songs loaded into the music app on my Mac. When I ask the magic person through the HomePod to play a certain song, she says she can't find it. Is Siri limited to finding only songs through subscription?
If you're doing that through where you expect it to play on a HomePod or something like that, I would say yes. But if you have an iPhone that has songs that you've installed into your personal library from CD or whatever, you certainly can play those through your iPhone or your iPad, but asking our friendly assistant to do that probably won't be successful. Does that answer your question?
I hope it answers Robert's question. Thank you so much. Are there any more questions for Deborah and or Craig? Over to Goldberg. Gabe, you're on in a minute.
Hi, thank you. Not a question, but a comment on the intercom feature.
Yes.
I have an Apple Watch, and so when I'm driving home, I can trigger my watch and say, "Hey, Magic, intercom," and make an announcement that plays out of all 3 of our HomePod minis at home. So I can tell my wife that I'm coming home. I can tell her to light the oven if I want to cook something. I can just let her know where I am. And that's very handy. The intercom feature, you don't have to be at home to do that. As long as everything is all connected on the same Apple account, you can do the intercom from wherever you are.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool feature.
That was the main reason I picked up the multiples, and they were at a good price point too. I actually got mine at the sale price. But yeah, that's just so handy. I have not used them to answer the phone, but mainly because of the distance where the speaker is. When I get I don't get that many calls, but when I would, it's a pretty big distance because the speaker the large speaker is over connected to the television at the other end. And it's a pretty long great room. And I'm usually in the kitchen. That's where I'm set up. And what you see behind me is the east view from my kitchen windows. That's my mountains behind me. So it would be echoey for me to try to talk and have that speaker at the other end of the room. I mean, for listening to music and, and I do raise my voice when I'm, talking to Sam.
And just one other comment on what I do with the HomePod minis. We have a house full of outlets that are controlled by Hey Magic. And so I can control the outlets individually, or I have a couple of scenes defined so that the lights in the family room are creatively gathered together as lights. The two lights in my wife's office are named after our two cats, Dex and Pandora, and they're collectively known as cats. And so she can say, "Hey, Magic, cat's on," and both of the lights in her office will come on at the same time. And around the holidays, we had even more outlets for the tree and lots of different things inside the house and outside the house. And they were just all controlled by Hey Magic, turn something on, turn something off. And all of the Christmas decorations were collectively grouped under Christmas. And so if we said, "Hey Magic, Christmas on," everything sprang into light all at the same time.
Very good. Will a MacBook Pro play 24-bit FLAC files without adding more software?
Yikes. I have no clue.
I don't think any more software would be needed. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. It's just whatever it's capable of doing, I would expect it would do without having to add some third-party Bluetooth device or something to make it work.
Thank you. Gerald, your turn.
Yes, hi. What a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. I have a pair of HomePod minis, but which I don't use as assistants. I would like to use them as a stereo pair for my laptop Pro. Is there a site that I can go to tell me how to set that up without the use of a Apple TV to use them as a stereo pair?
You can go to the Home app on your phone or your MacBook or whatever and pair the speakers. Do that first. And once you have that pair, then since they're a typical Bluetooth device, you can then just pair that with whatever you want to play to use as the input for your music or whatever. I wouldn't think you'd need any special thing other than that.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do we have any more questions for the deadly Apple duo? I'm not saying anybody's name here.
We're both still breathing, though.
Yes, very good. That was excellent, you guys. I have the other person whose name I shouldn't say, and I give a presentation about it. So I'm going to use one of the names that you guys do because I usually just say you know who, which is really dumb. So I like your fun names that you've given to your assistant. So
well, a funny thing about that, I was watching an Apple keynote several years ago, and the person at the intro video at the beginning of the keynote had the remote control that Tim Cook was going to use for his presentation. And so she said, "Hey Siri, how do I get to the Steve Jobs theater in Cupertino, California?" And my HomePod just says I can't give directions, mine here at home, but previously it did. It says get on I-270 and head west, 2,500 miles or whatever. It was hilarious. So saying, hey, Magic, or hey, Sam, or something like that is always safer than actually saying the word. And this fall, Apple is saying you don't even have to say, hey, whatever. You can just say Siri and do this. So it might be worse for that sort of thing once that happens, when the next release of iOS and Mac OS and iPad OS all come out in the fall.
And does your buddy react to those words on the TV like my buddy over here does when the car commercial was out last year and they were?
Yep. I've seen it do that.
Such a pain.
Deborah's shaking her head. Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually talk to it. You just have to have some audio that talks to it, and that's good enough.
Yeah, so much.
You got to be careful.
Yep, so much for recognizing just your voice or anything like they said
Yeah.
today. Hey guys, again, thank you very much.